Hey everybody, it's Larry Steinhouse, and this is the Larry Steinhouse Show. We are going to do something different today, and I'm kind of excited about it because when I set up this studio, I set it up so that everything would be live. And the reason I set up to be live is, first of all, I have all this cool equipment, right? So I want to show it off, of course, right? We got Todd Radis in the audience. He's sitting there. He's laughing in here. Just thinking. Actually, I'll tell you the whole story. So Chris Salem, I'm going to introduce Chris Salem in a minute. He's our next guest. And I have Todd in here in case this system crashes. And what I said, what I was saying was, because we normally do everything live, we have people in here. So we're trying something new today. We're trying to get Chris Salem via Zoom. So I've got Chris via Zoom, but let me tell you a little bit about Chris. Chris is an accomplished business process strategist, investor, private lender, world-class speaker, award-winning author, certified mindset expert, radio show host, media personality, wellness advocate, partnering with entrepreneurs, partnering with entrepreneurs, corporations and small businesses with overcoming their limiting beliefs. Now, this is a big thing of mine, limiting beliefs. Not that I have limiting beliefs, but I like to help people overcome them as well, so they can adapt this process to operate within the solution and not manage the problem for sustainable success. So, Chris, say hi to everybody. Let's see if this works. Everybody say hi to Chris.
Hey, Larry. Pleasure to be here today.
Oh, that's awesome. I think it's actually working. I'm not sure, but I think it's actually working. We'll get somebody to tell us soon that it's working, all right? So tell us a little bit about what you're doing, how you're doing it, and why you're doing it.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, when you talk about the limited beliefs, what I do as a business process strategist is I work with business leaders, corporations, also entrepreneurs individually, one-on-one and in groups. I help them to recognize and be aware if they're not where they want to be. I have a process that shows them how to get to the root cause of limited beliefs that hold them back. So in organizations, a lot of times there's people involved, right? So many times if people are operating from limited beliefs, they're getting in each other's way. Okay. And this causes, from a subconscious level, interference in communications, how they relate to one another, and thus affects how things get done. They're less productive, less efficient, and obviously they're not producing more profitability. So in this case, what I do is I get to the root cause of those limited beliefs through a process to show them how to get into the solution so they can have sustainable success at the next level and be able to persevere through any challenge or setback that's going to happen, so they can recognize the gifts and opportunities disguised in them to get them to where they want to be.
Right.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, because I come across people with limiting beliefs all the time, and it's funny. We talk, even myself. Like, so sometimes I teach some processes how to buy houses with no money, and everybody's like, "Oh, you can't do that." I'm like, as long as you believe you can't, you're absolutely right.
Absolutely.
And I have to say the same thing to myself. Sometimes I even say to myself, I used to say, everybody uses the word "but," right? But I can't do that. But nobody can do that. But whatever they say, I've actually replaced the word "but" in my vocabulary with "my limiting belief is." And the reason I say that is so that I recognize that what I'm doing is I'm creating a limiting belief, and I might as well at least admit I have it.
You're being aware of it, so knowing that there's something that if I can find a way to get to it and eliminate it, so I can really truly believe that anything is possible, that I could put me into the solution process to get there. And I think that's so necessary as an investor or anything to do with that you're looking to grow wealth in your life.
Oh, I totally agree, and I find it fascinating that most people don't realize that they can literally have anything they've ever wanted. Are you a Napoleon Hill fan?
Oh, absolutely. Think and Grow Rich. Read it many times, and obviously we're all part of the same group that truly believe in that in his principles. And to this day, that book still holds true, and it'll forever the rest of time will. So it really is. It starts with the mindset. Matter of fact, Larry, it's so funny because today I'm going to be speaking in front of a group of business leaders, and we're going to be talking about growth mindset versus fixed mindset.
Okay.
Completely different.
Okay, sure. Hold on one second. We're trying to get some technical stuff going on here. This is the first time.
Do the split screen. It's better resolution.
Better resolution.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay, that's better. That's okay. I got it. Okay, cool. All right, so there we go. So we got the split screen, better resolution. Okay, that was a much better. That's good. So now you have to see me and I have to see you at the same time.
All right.
I don't know. You know what that means. Okay, that's fine. So everybody has to say. I like to hide because every once in a while I want to pick my nose. I don't want anybody to see me pick my nose.
See, that's not a limited belief.
So one of the things that I like about you is that you're a real estate investor, just like we are. So
yeah, I've invested in real estate, but what I've done recently now is I've gotten over the last 5 years into private lending. So what I do is I work with people that are flipping homes to invest in certain projects like that. I also loan to certain types of startup businesses and so forth. And in that business, you have to have some thick skin. You have to be able to operate from a place of limitless beliefs, because if you allow those limited beliefs to get in the way, that business is out the door, and you're going to be operating out of fear rather than belief. So it's so important when you're looking at building wealth, whatever that's real estate, investing in startup companies, or anything that can grow your money. You have to be able to put your mindset first and focus on that before even getting involved in any of this stuff, because there's going to be trials and tribulations along the way, but you have to be in it for the long run to actually see everything manifest to where you want to be.
So when you sat down and thought about some of your own desires and goals and what you wanted to do, what did you create vision boards? Did you write them down? How did you do it? Because I know everybody has their own little trick to it, and I know I have some of mine.
So what I do is, vision boards are fine, but what I do is I plan specific goals. I mean, you can use the SMART goals, right? But what I look at is I take a goal and I make it very specific. I use words like I am, I will, because those words vibrate at a higher frequency rather than I want, I try. But then what I do is, if it's a certain amount of money that I'm looking to make this year, I will then break that down into other goals that are going to be necessary to achieve that revenue, and break it down even further so I know exactly each day, each week, each month, quarter, year, what I have to do to get there for the end time that I'm going to do that. So if I say I'm going to generate, $500,250.22 by January 17th of 2020, that I know for between now and that year, I know exactly what I'm going to be doing over that time to get there, and breaking it down into smaller attainable goals. So I'm not just focused on the end goal and become overwhelmed and get distracted. This way allows me to just focus on today. What do I got to do today to make this amount that will roll up daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, annually to where my goal is.
So I've heard of that technique before, and I have to tell you, I absolutely do not use it.
Okay, that's fine. It's fine. It's what works for me, but it doesn't mean it works for everybody.
I didn't say it doesn't work. I just said it's funny, because my limiting belief has been so far that all I really literally have to do is think about it and really believe it, and it happens. We're sitting now in a studio that was a creation of my mind several years ago, and also goes back to several years of me always wanting to be on the radio. And, it's very funny. So everything that I always wanted to do in my life, I'm now doing. And everything that I always wanted to do in my life, I was told I have to go to college to do it, which I dropped out in 6 weeks because I realized that was a complete waste of my time. And I wanted to be a teacher, right? But I really didn't want to be a teacher that taught, public school, right? I just wanted to be a teacher that taught useful information. So we have a school called Investor Schooling. We're doing that. I always wanted to be a radio broadcaster. And you know what? This is what I'm doing now. I'm sitting here, I'm interviewing you, and I'm having a blast, and this is great, right? I always wanted to have fun. I always wanted to have a really really, really fast car. So now I have a Corvette, right? I always wanted to have a woman, a wife, actually now, I'm so excited about this, who works with me. And she is an integral part of my business, which I think is amazing too. So I just thinking, and it happens. I keep saying I'm thinking too small because I need to think bigger now. One of my goals is to sell this company, for a lot of money one day. And I have a number in my head. I don't want to say it because I don't, if I say it, I actually feel like I actually took it out of my head. And I think that's a bad place for it to go. So what do you think about that?
No, exactly. Thinking, just out of the principles of Think and Grow Rich, it is so true. But I'm always a firm believer that what we think, we also have to put things into action. And
absolutely, yes.
There are people, what happens is that they'll look at an end goal, and it'll be so big that they become overwhelmed. And this is where fear and stress from the past come into the present moment. Then it gets projected into the future, which becomes anxiety. Anxiety leads to procrastination. So this is where if we're able to break it down, where you can think it, but yet have it on paper and break it down into smaller attainable goals, it keeps you focused on what you have to do today, thinking that as each and every day to where it manifests to where you want to be. So I'm a firm believer in everything you're saying, because the Think and Grow Rich is so true, because everything starts here. Everything starts here. And that's what you did. You visualized it in your head and did what was necessary despite any setbacks or challenges to make that happen. Yeah,
and it's funny, I also found that with patience, I actually get everything I want. It's not sometimes, I want it now. Of course, I want all my dreams and desires now, but I also realize that with patience, it will come and it'll happen, and that's tough for me sometimes, and I think it's tough for other people too. You meet people. I want to be a millionaire. I'm like, okay, well, what are you now? Well, I owe $200,000 in debt, so you're not anywhere near a millionaire. You have to get there. You have to slowly. Next month you'll be, $190,000 in debt instead of $200,000 in debt, and then you'll slowly build your way up. So it's funny. You have to have some patience. So I teach that as well. I think you do too. Sure.
Patience, gratitude, empathy, compassion. All these are things. Being humble. This is the thing. If you look at some of the millionaires out there, like the millionaire next door. These are people that, if you've met them in the street, you probably never know they were a millionaire, but they're just, again, they come from gratitude, humble. They never forget where they came from, but they live in that moment being patient that good things will come despite any challenge, setbacks, or any period of darkness that you're going through, that there's always the rainbow on the other side. So you have to believe, and this is where what you're talking about, thinking, it starts here. You got to think and believe it within yourself. No one else can think and believe for you. You have to take ownership and responsibility for that.
So what's Chris doing next?
So what I'm doing next is I'm excited that I just invested about 6 months ago in a startup company called Achu, and it's a company
God bless you.
Just like Achu, ACHU. And the company started off as just an app that would be able to help people detect sickness in the body, not like cancer yet or anything like that, but like just colds and viruses, that type of thing, based upon algorithms. And we just signed a deal with Fitbit not too long ago. Wow. So we're actually now kind of like the Intel inside for Fitbit, and we are now beginning discussions with J&J, Johnson & Johnson, and IBM with their Watson technology to further elevate this, where this could be something that can not only detect colds or viruses ahead of time, but perhaps cancer, heart disease, and diabetes, and all these other things. So I'm really excited to be not only an investor in this organization, but now on the board and involved in decision making where the organization's heading.
That's pretty wild. I'm actually, whenever I talk to you, I always find that you have something exciting going on, something crazy going on, and that's really neat. I like it. So, what do you think? Look, I consider myself a mentor. Actually, Todd's sitting here too. He's considering himself a mentor. You consider yourself a mentor. Actually, we even have Todd here. We have a few minutes. Let's have a quick conversation on why people should have mentors.
I believe that people should have mentors because, again, we're all teachers and students simultaneously at the same time. And even though you could have a lot of knowledge and you could be a mentor to so many people, you have to be continuously mentored in some other way. We're never going to be perfect in every area of our life in business. So it's always crucial that we're receiving mentorship from other people. And it doesn't have to be someone who's, well-known and famous. I mean, it could be somebody that nobody knows about. Because all of us have wisdom in some way that can help somebody to really empower them to be a better version of themselves in business and as well as in their personal life. So I think it's so important. Tony Robbins as mentors, Jack Canfield, all these people you would think, oh, they don't need mentors. They're the mentors. No, we all
absolutely true.
Mentors.
Absolutely true. So, Todd, I got you here. I got you on the camera. Tell me about why do you feel you need a mentor, or why people should have mentors?
Well, I'm sitting in the room with my mentor. You're my primary mentor. But I really believe that everyone needs that mentor, that coach, that person that helps keep them on point out the things that are limiting them from within themselves. Because when you have an outward perspective coming to you, you have a better chance of seeing where your weaknesses are and overcoming them. That third party coming at you and saying, you know what, you might want to think about this from this direction because right now you're creating negativity and you're not going to reach your goals if you're creating negativity and limiting thoughts like you two were just talking about. Larry does love the limiting thoughts because he looks at me and goes, and what's your limiting thought on this? But it's you need that. You really need that. So I think mentorship and coaching is something that all of us need. I don't know what I'd do without, Larry in the background. I need that, I need that person behind me who points out those little things like I've got this great goal, but then your mentor doesn't say you can't do that goal. He just points out where your mind's straying that might limit you towards reaching that goal. It's like, just go for it. Larry's and Chris, Larry's 100% correct. When he says, I just put it in my head, I envision it, and I go for it. And I've kind of started picking up on that. It's like the fewer plans I have, the faster I can move for my goals. But I have a clear vision of what that new goal is or where I'm trying to get to. And again, comes from your mentor. I think they're invaluable. I think everyone who wants to go into business should seriously consider finding a good mentor who's already succeeded where they want to succeed.
And it's funny, I probably have half a dozen mentors. Each one has their own little thing that they bring to my life. We have Ken MacArthur here today. He's one of my mentors. We have Phil Falcone, who I partnered with on a venture schooling, Greg Reed, and all these people are so important to me. I just find that they'll give you a word of wisdom. And the other thing you have to do with your mentor is you have to remember to listen. They may or may not be right. Right, you especially when you're working on something, when you're thinking about something, your mentor may or may not be right, but absolutely listen. Decide for yourself whether they're right. That's fine, or decide whether you want to do more research to find that if they're right. Again, it may be that, but at least listen. And the other thing you want to do with no matter who is mentoring you, even if it's one sentence mentorship, because you ever had somebody have one sentence that they told you that like changed a complete, maybe a limiting belief or something. One sentence mentor. Always say thank you to that person who said, hey, you should do this or try this. Thank you. And I found that actually came from one of my mentors, and I was glad to hear that came from one of my mentors because it's great stuff. So what do you have? What is your website, Chris, that people can go to you? I can't show up on the screen because I'm afraid it's going to crash the system.
Sure, yeah, no worries. I can give it to you. From the business perspective, if they want to find out more information, it's www.Christopher Salem, my full name, so CHRISTOPHER, Salem, like Salem, Massachusetts.com. And then also, Larry and Todd, I have a nonprofit called EFA Movement. It's called Empowered Fathers in Action. And that they can go there at efamovement.org. Also, a lot of things I do on the profit side, we do on the nonprofit side, so you can kind of see where the synergy is there between both organizations.
So, anybody really understand what a nonprofit really is? It's a business that doesn't make any money.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but I mean, for this case, we look at this as a way to give back.
I know. I'm teasing because I hear people all the time. Yeah, they go, I have a nonprofit business. I go, well, I've had several nonprofit businesses.
Yeah, I keep the profit stuff on the other side. Yeah, don't worry.
So you have a busy day today. Tell me about what's going on today, because I know you.
Yeah. So I'm heading down to speak to a group of business leaders and entrepreneurs, not too far from where I live, just about 45 minutes away. We're going to be talking about how to grow your mindset for peak performance. And again, it's looking at a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So obviously, everything that we were talking about, limited beliefs, plays a role in where people get stuck in the fixed mindset versus having a growth mindset. So, when it comes to investing and, starting businesses and pursuing things that, that most people could not imagine in their lifetime.
Sure.
It requires having that growth mindset. So kind of everything that we've been talking about here today is what we'll be chatting about during this discussion.
So we got about a minute. What is one piece of serious advice you can give to anyone and everyone listening right now that could affect their life in a positive way, by the way?
I would say that every one of you out there, no matter if you don't believe in yourself right now at this moment, has the capacity and capability to do whatever you want to do in this lifetime, as long as it's relevant. Physically, again, there could be physical limitations, but again, only you are holding yourself back, no one else. You have the ability to solve your problem, and you have the ability to create your solution. Align with some mentors and learn how to begin to believe in yourself. When you learn how to believe in yourself and think that anything is possible and have a plan, you can achieve whatever you set out to do.
I love it. That's beautiful. I love it. All right, cool, Chris. Thanks so much for coming on the show. And this actually worked. It didn't work perfect, but I'm going to say that.
I'm glad I was the guinea pig here.
I'm going to say 1 out of 10. It was a 9. And the funny part is probably the only thing that was the resolution issue, and I don't know how we could ever fix that because that could be anything from cameras to screens. But so I don't even know if it can be worked on. But I'm so glad you were there. I'm so glad it worked. Why don't you wave goodbye to everybody? And
thank you so much, everybody. And Larry, Todd, have a great day. And thank you. And Ken, thank you so much.
Take care, guys.
See you soon, brother. Have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bandwidth when you chop those.
Yeah, I know.
out,
That's exactly right. I had to turn over the camera because his bandwidth, he took up so much bandwidth.
He's so fun to talk to. Are we still on?